I'm excited for UFC 258, so let's just get right into it, man. Things are going to be heating up in the cage. It might be cold over here in Chicago, but I'm excited for this main event. And, obviously we have other things that are part of it. I know Gastelum is fighting, who you've worked with over at Kings MMA. And Beneil Dariush just got a big win as well. So want to talk about that. And also, who is the fighter that Dariush mentioned that should be in UFC? He seemed pretty adamant of trying to get that fighter noticed. So can you tell us more about that before we head into looking at the main event?
Yeah, I didn't catch that interview. I gotta go back. I've had the busiest freaking last 10 days in the world. But yeah, Beneil looked like a beast. Kings MMA went 2-0 last weekend. That was badass. Now they got Kelvin Gastelum back in there. Man, this is a badass fight. Two real good strikers. Obviously, everybody knows about the power Kelvin has. I think something people don't yet understand is just how good the rest of Kelvin's kickboxing game is. I haven't seen him use some weapons that he's used in the gym, and I think they might come out in this fight on Saturday. Badass matchup, tough matchup, of course, but got to go with my boy Kelvin, man. He's a beast. He's been training really hard, and I could definitely tell you that Rafael Cordeiro, when I'm at Kings, I haven't been at Kings very much this year, but last year when I was going to Kings, I could tell you that Rafael Cordeiro puts a lot of time into Kelvin Gastelum. And I really think there's been a lot of improving that's happened. And if you listen to the average, I'm going to close my door here so it's not so loud. If you listen to the average MMA analyst talk about Kelvin Gastelum, they'll talk about almost a decline. He was looked at as such a high-level guy when he went to a real close fight with Israel Adesanya for the title, when he was knocking out Michael Bisping. You hear about people talk about him declining. Trust me, he is not declined. If anything, this is the best version of Kelvin Gastelum you'll see.
Yeah, I mean, he's coming off the loss to Jack Hermanson, which was a first-round submission. Heinsich, on the other hand, coming off a first-round knockout. I am favoring Heinsich for this fight just because he had that big finish. He's a tough guy. I think it's going to go, down to the wire pretty much, and I think Gastelum might find himself on the another end of a bad submission, man, just because of the gas tank and everything. In the later rounds, but I don't have.
All right, bro, $1,000, me versus you. Let's go. Lay it down, Sean. What's up?
Yeah, sounds good. We'll have to talk about it later, man. I want Gastelum to prove me wrong. Let's see if he proves me wrong Saturday night. Obviously, I know he's been aching to get back in there, so it might be a different beast that comes out.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking to me and I'm biased, man. I like Kelvin a lot. Kelvin's freaking, bruised my legs up in the gym, and is a good guy, man. He's, he hits like a truck, and if I have any insider information at all, it's just that in 2020, I believe that Kelvin got a lot of time with Rafael Cordeiro, and Rafael Cordeiro has made, Anderson Silva what Anderson was, and Shogun and Vanderlei and Dos Anjos, and I mean, Doom, and you keep going through the list, man. Look at what this guy's done. So, he's one of those special coaches, like a Bill Belichick for MMA. And, I hope that Kelvin can, turn it around. Of course, what you guys have to go off of are the last performances. And, Kelvin got caught in that quick submission by Hermanson. But, that I don't think is going to define his future here, man. I think this is going to be a great fight for Kelvin.
For sure. And I think Beneil had mentioned Mike Perez as a guy that the UFC should sign. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him. Teammate of his.
Brother, there's every time I go to Kings, I see more and more of these guys who are from other gyms, and they come over, these Brazilians who come over. The list is deep, man. There's some of these guys who are fighting in, I want to say LFA. I know a couple for Bellator. They're at the same level as some of these UFC fighters. So you're going to see a lot more guys coming through from Kings and from these other gyms around here. Remember, I live right by HB Ultimate Training Center. So you got Brian Ortega about to fight for a world title. And there's a lot of growth. MMA has been a hotbed here in Huntington Beach, but there'll be a lot more Huntington Beach fighters in the future, man. It's only accelerating.
Yeah, I know. I gotta get out there, man. It's an MMA hotbed right there. The next thing I want to talk about was
it's hot. Like it's February.
Yes. Oh nice. Yeah, that is awesome. I want to come out soon. Beneil Dariush, I mean, looked good, in that fight. he was adamant that he felt disrespected. He said he should have gone to top 10 guys. He shouldn't have been matched up in a rematch with Diego Ferreira. So, you know, I think Beneil, next time, they need to give him someone up there.
Yeah, he's been putting a great streak together, man. So some wicked KOs. Yes. Of course, he had a spinning back fist and whatnot. I mean, he's in his prime. Beneil Dariush is in his prime. So let's see him at the top of the division, man. I mean, he's in one of the most competitive divisions, you know, or the most competitive division. But let's see him at the top. I 100% agree, man. He's been on a streak. It's time that they give him some shine, give him that main event slot, or give him something, you know, co-main event on a pay-per-view type thing. You know, he should be at least one fight away from a title shot. You know, put him up there.
Yeah. Before we get to the main event at 258, I do have to ask Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier. In your mind, crazy, what happened?
Crazy.
Dustin,
crazy.
Listen,
what happened?
Dustin he poured it on with the leg kicks, and what I heard was the way the location of those leg kicks. It wasn't like in the thigh. It was like compartmental syndrome. Like the pain was contained. Like you can't just like spread it out. Like where he was hitting him in the leg. It was that had to be, you know, debilitating for McGregor. We just review that.
Yes, of course. So well, first let's just go right off of that. So calf kicks. Calf kicks in MMA are something I think we saw like Benson Henderson using them, and a couple guys would use them back a few years ago, but now you're really starting to see them come out, and trust me, it's just the beginning. That little muscle on the side of your calf will spasm if you hit it right. So a little homework for you guys. Check out Henry Cejudo. When he was in a title fight, he got kicked in the calf and his freaking foot was going which way. Was that the Mighty Mouse fight? It was the second Mighty Mouse fight. Mighty Mouse hits him in the calf, and watch Henry's foot. Henry's foot is like flopping around. He's trying to step on it. He's like, you know, off balance. What a mistake by Mighty Mouse not to capitalize on that, by the way. I mean, you know, for one of the greatest fighters of all time on Henry, literally being on one leg and doing the chicken dance. I mean, it was crazy. Mighty Mouse just looked at him like maybe he's just going to fall down. Like, go get him, bro. You know what I mean? He's hurt, you know? So the foot only spasms for a moment and it cramps up for a moment. But, okay, let's keep going. Sugar Sean O'Malley and Cheeto Vera. Remember that one? Freaking locked his leg up, right? Same idea. And then McGregor Poirier, same thing. It locks your leg up. And, you know, people are like, well, McGregor's got power with his hands. He should be using his hands. It's like, guys, you know how you throw punches? You have to have your feet on the ground, you know? You have to be able to generate kinetic energy from the ground. So McGregor's leg got taken out. Is that some freak thing that we should just write off? No, of course not. McGregor, why are you standing flat-footed? Look at the way he's standing, like he's in a boxing match, like he's Canelo Alvarez or something. This is not what made him the man he is. Why would McGregor go from having a bounce where he's moving around on his feet to being flat-footed? Well, the only reason you could find for that is to develop more power. And that's what he's saying. I'm sitting down on my punches more now. My feet are connected to the floor. He was saying that before the fight. Conor, you already had power. You didn't need any more power, bro. You knocked out Jose Aldo in a blink of an eye. You're laying out the UFC lightweight champ, and you know, within 10 minutes, it's like the last thing Conor needed was more power. You need other things, more cardio. You need more, you know, there are other areas. And of course he focuses on those, but what a ridiculous maneuver there from his coaching, from Conor, who's supposed to have a very high fight IQ. Of course he does. You know, I'm giving him a hard time. But that was a low fight IQ decision from his coaches, from Conor. They all need to own up to that. You know, from Kavanaugh all the way down to that boxing coach he has, you know, from Crumlin. They all need to own up to that. They all need to fix that. Conor McGregor used to bounce around on his toes. You know what I mean? Do you remember when he fought Dustin Poirier the first time? When he's bouncing around? Let me see if I can freaking set this camera up here. Hang on. I'm going to show you guys what I'm talking about. So Conor used to, when Conor would come out, he would be bouncing around on his toes, right? He used to do that hook kick against Dustin Poirier, and he was bouncing around, right? What did he do in this fight? He comes out. flat on his feet.
True. Yeah, it was very.
You're gonna get your freaking calf kicked off if you do shit like that. Okay, so he deserved that, and I was surprised to see just how flat he was, like a can of Coca-Cola that you opened up and left out for a week. I mean, it was it was very, very uncharacteristic of early champion Conor McGregor, the guy who knocked out Dustin Poirier, the guy who knocked out Jose Aldo. That 145-pound Conor, I don't know if he's gone, but he's certainly the techniques that he was using, I haven't seen from him. And I don't like new flat pop Conor. That's not going to be very effective against good kickers. It's not going to be very effective in many aspects of the game. You know where he's at. When he's bouncing around like I just showed you, it's much more unpredictable. You don't know where he's at. Right. Yeah, maybe he gives up a little bit of power, but trust me, Sean, it's much worse for the opponent when they don't know if they're going to hit him or they're going to miss and get knocked the F out, right?
I know.
That's more valuable, and he needs to change his style urgently.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. May have a rematch in the works. Looks like it's trending to Dustin Poirier. McGregor 3 pay-per-view. Maybe we'll get that in the summer. So wants to get back. That would
be badass. They keep giving him rematches, man. I listened to that Nate Diaz interview. I couldn't even hate on Nate for saying that. It's like, Nate beats him, and it was short notice. That one made a little more sense. With this one, I mean, let's be blatantly honest. Conor was supposed to win this fight. This was set up for Conor to step up and then have a title fight against somebody. Khabib was what Dana wanted, obviously, for the cash money and for legacy and for the UFC and all that for history. But now Conor got knocked out, man. He got his leg taken out, and then he got his face taken out. And it makes sense monetarily for the UFC to do a rematch. I bet that's what they'll do. But I think, do Conor Nate Diaz 3, give Dustin Poirier a title fight. Winner of Conor and Nate could come up. Do Dustin Poirier and Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira earned it. Keep Michael Chandler in the mix, and do Conor Nate 3. I think that makes sense. At least Conor can kind of get back. That's what this was. This was like a comeback fight. This was like, oh, Conor's a bad matchup for him. Flat feet Conor, cement feet Conor. I don't know. Remember how he said these 145ers, they're stuck in the mud. He's stuck in the mud now.
Yes,
now Conor's stuck in the mud.
Yeah,
he needs to get out of the mud.
I'm not. Yeah, you're exactly right. We didn't have the footwork, and listen, all credit to Dustin to capitalize on that. Dustin's a high IQ fighter. To be able to go out there and perform the way he did and not be scared of Conor. He could have had Conor in his head and easily given up those opportunities, and he didn't. So my hat's off to Dustin as well.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Dustin showed up. I mean, you got to give him good credit where it's due. Dustin Poirier is one of the toughest human beings on earth, man. That guy will go toe-to-toe with anybody. He talked about how he was nervous backstage and how, I don't know if he used the word nervous, but we all know that's what he means. And he went out there and he went into the unknown. And he got the job done, man. It's a wonderful thing for him and his family. I'm buying some hot sauce right away, man. Dustin Poirier deserves it.
That's definitely. Well, when we get to the main event, and this fight, I think people are sleeping on. This pay-per-view, people hung over for 257. This one kind of snuck up on us. We've been waiting for this fight for a while. Since last July was supposed to happen between Usman and Burns. Now we're finally here. Anything have changed in this time? That you think that has your prediction changed? What was your prediction originally? And you're still sticking with it?
Yeah, Usman because of the wrestling. Look, Burns is better at jiu-jitsu, not just by a little bit. Burns would more than likely submit Usman if they did a submission-only grappling event. Yeah. But if you start putting, for instance, when you go from submission-only grappling to then you do points where there's a time limit, now the wrestler have a much better time because they can stall a little bit. And, as much as Usman deserves credit for the war he had with Colby Covington and some exciting fights, let's be honest, he's the best staller in MMA right now. He likes to push people against the fence, push them through like cheese through a cheese grater, just hold them there and win rounds. He's great at winning rounds, and I think he's going to do that against Burns. I think Burns, you know, when he went into the press conference just the other day, he was talking about how he's ready to outgrind Usman. I think that's the wrong approach. I think the approach is to try to hit him with a big combination, catch him in a submission. He's got to go for a finish because I don't think he's going to win rounds against Usman. I especially don't think he's going to win 3 out of 5 rounds against Usman. The only person who might be able to do that is George St. Pierre, and he ain't a UFC fighter right now. So you know, I don't see I don't see Burns winning rounds against this great wrestler who has superhuman cardio. You know, I see Usman controlling this fight with his wrestling. With that being said, there is this certain mystique that champions have. When you go in to fight a champion in the UFC, you're standing across from a prime Anderson Silva. You're standing across from Conor McGregor. You're like, man, this might not go well for me. This is crazy, you know? I don't think Burns is going to have that because of the history with Usman. Yeah. He knows he could punch Usman in the face. He knows he could choke Usman if he lands a choke, right? So because they train together, there is a certain edge that he'll have that he probably otherwise wouldn't in such a big fight. Of course, one more detail there, Sean, is that Gilbert Burns is coming off of that win against Tyron Woodley. And that's another big name guy where he was able to go out there and show, hey, I'm not just some 155er who moved up. I'm a real 170 pounder. I could out muscle these guys at 170. I could drop, you know, the former champion, hurt him. I think the confidence aspect is strong with Burns. And that's probably one of his biggest advantages coming into this fight on Saturday.
Yeah, definitely. The way I look at it is Kamaru Usman, his last fight left a lot to be desired. You know, he just dominated George, you know, from the first opening bell to the end of the 5th round, pure domination. I think he's looking for more of a fight. Like, I think he's looking to go out there, mix it up a little bit. But listen, he's dangerous. Burns is dangerous to do that with. So I'm not sure how much he'll do that, as opposed to, you know, playing it safe and taking, you know, Burns down. Burns is a great jiu-jitsu guy as well, so he's got to be careful. But I think he used that wrestling game plan. But I'm thinking this is just going to be – I'm hoping it's just more of a fight than what George Brasovell brought. You know, where Usman's like, yeah, he caught me a couple times, and you know, it almost, you know, was harking back to the days we were sparring as teammates. You know, something like that. I don't think Burns really presents immediate danger, but you know, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, Burns has a lot of great ability. You know, we saw grinding the, you know, Woodley against the cage, just putting that Woodley to pasture, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think the big question for me in this fight is, can Usman finish Burns? That would be a statement. And like you're saying, if he mixes it up, if he strikes with them and whatnot, take more risk, that would be interesting. Generally, from what I've seen, Sean, Usman is a low-risk fighter. He wants to get a hold of you. He wants to get you tired. He doesn't want to exchange very much. He doesn't want to put, you know, more risk out there than he needs to. Khabib, you could argue, is similar in that way. These guys are lower-risk fighters. They're going to go for their wrestling and implement it. And, you know, Usman, I think, even more extreme because of his stalling aspect, which, you know, people probably get upset that I say that, but that's just what I'm seeing. It's very, very well trained in wrestlers who are really competitive at a high level. If you're up a couple points on somebody, you really have to be able to hold them off from scoring on you. Usman's really good at that. So, you know, I hope you're right, but I think we're going to see wrestler Usman try to grind Gilbert out a little bit. If he's exchanged with Gilbert, he's giving him more of a chance to win this fight. I'll put it this way. The more intense the fight is, the more up and down it is, the more exchanges, the better shot Gilbert has of winning. Right. That's the way I see it. The less that happens in this fight, the better for Usman. And, you know, you could say that about a lot of Usman fights. The Masvidal one's another example. The more they stood in front of each other and exchanged, the more Jorge had a shot. You know, every time that they were locked up in an under-over, it was a freaking death sentence for Jorge Masvidal. Oh, yeah. You're right. You're right. And I think that may happen. But I don't know. I just think Burns will try to make it a fight somehow. I don't know.
I think they know each other pretty well. I think there's that element that they know each other very well, and we'll see, like, maybe Burns knows a few of his techniques, but maybe Usman will have something to surprise him and keep him at bay. We'll see, and maybe Burns can really overturn the tables. But I still see a unanimous decision for Kamaru Usman. When it's all said and done.
Yeah, we agree there, brother. We agree there. It's hard to beat Kamaru, man. He's about to pass up GSP's consecutive defense record. So
16 straight victories, I believe he already has. So he'll beat that. Yeah,
he's
that's great. I think it's overall victories, not victories with the belt, right? I think it's like overall victories.
Is that right?
I think so. Yeah, because he's only had like maybe three or four title defenses.
Right, Colby.
Yeah, Colby and George. That's it. So only 2 title defenses. So I think it was overall.
That's right. It's a win streak. You're right. You're right. Yeah, Brett O'Connor.
He'll probably beat that record when it's all said and done too at 170.
Well, see, it's a competitive division. That's a tough division. That's there's a lot of killers at 170. But if you compare it to like 155, I mean, there's the depth of like 145, 155. It's really, really significant. But yes, there are a lot of killers in that division. He's going to have to rematch Colby eventually. That's a tough fight for him, of course. Yes. So there's a lot of fun fights in the welterweight division for him. I love it, man. I think that he's going to be the better wrestler, and I think that's comfortable to say, and that will probably be the deciding factor.
Yeah, I think so as well. I'm going with Kamaru Usman on this one, and notching that 17 straight victory, beating GSP's record. I mean, these are all wonderful things, man. This is the Black History Month and all that. So Kamaru Usman getting it done, the Nigerian Nightmare. It's beneficial for him, for the UFC to have a champion like this, And you know what I also want to see is him really just go out there and after it's all said and done, him and Gilbert, put it all aside and they talk. I always like seeing that after the fight, and I'm sure we're going to see that, give each other respect and maybe see something backstage. I like when they sit down next to each other backstage. Sometimes you get to see that,
Yeah. They're friends. I think it'll be good after the fight. Hey, you were talking about the 170 division and the future of Kamaru. I think when Khamzat Chimaev comes back, that's a terror right there. How terrible that he had to pull out yesterday.
It's unfortunate.
Fight.
They're done with that fight, I think, for now with Leon, and they're going to find another fight for Leon. So
you know what fight they need to make, Sean? Can you pass this up the ranks? Can we please see Jorge Masvidal and Leon Edwards now?
Yes.
Can we please see that fight now?
What else they want to do Jorge and Colby.
I'm not opposed.
Yeah.
But I think the Masvidal and Leon Edwards fight is
the
so
three-piece and
They already had the backstage scuffle. Leon's been out for a minute. 2 strikers. Come on, man. It's fun. I mean, I like Colby and Masvidal. I just think I don't see Masvidal stopping that takedown. I don't think Masvidal sees Masvidal stopping that takedown. The Leon Edwards fight, though, that might be some fireworks.
I agree. That would be a lot of fun, man. And I think those 2 guys are right at the cusp, of getting right back in there for the main event for a title shot against Usman. So why not? Why not make it? Book it. And Dana White has said that, obviously Khamzat's going to be getting a big fight when he comes back, but just this fight with him and Leon is not going to happen. We also know what he said is he's still talking to Khabib. So that's still Khabib.
I know they're going to meet
still
again.
Undecided. His fate is still yet to be determined. It's like
he's got to give him more money.
Keeping us on. Yeah. I think they're going to do interim title. I think when you said Dustin Poirier, Oliveira, I could definitely see that for interim belt.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking, man. That's what I'm thinking is Dustin Poirier, Charles Oliveira interim title. Conor McGregor, Nate Diaz 3, get Conor back. Nate's been out for a minute. It makes sense. Like, let him knock all that rust off. And then you can put Conor up in a title fight. And like I said, Michael Chandler's right there. We know how injuries and pullouts happen in the UFC. Michael Chandler's right there. It's just that he's just 1-0 in the UFC. I think Charles Oliveira deserves it. And I would love to see Charles Oliveira, Dustin Poirier. It's a dope fight. Just give a good co-main event on there, so the pay-per-views are nice. You know, I know obviously Charles Oliveira isn't the biggest pay-per-view star yet, and that's kind of what they're thinking is, okay, we could put McGregor against Poirier again and make 5 times as much money, or we could do, you know, what would make sense for the division. You know, so they're in a tough spot, the UFC. I mean, I understand it, right? You know, and the fans want to see McGregor try to avenge his loss too, many of them anyway. But I think the right fights are honestly to get these guys back in a smart way. When you got superstars like this in boxing, they don't just come back and just fight, you know. Like Tyson Fury, when he came back from being frickin' 1,000 pounds, right? He had all these warm-up fights and stuff. It's like, that's how they should treat Hamzat coming back from COVID. You're like, yeah, they're going to give him a big fight. I'm like, I hope not. I hope not. I hope he's fighting another fight that's a very winnable fight for him. He can get his lungs back, get his confidence back, then give him the big fight, right? Same thing with McGregor. Like, they're going to put him back in there with Poirier. And it's like, you know, I would rather see him make his adjustments first and then come up to the competition. You know, that happens in all sports, man. If you look at what people were saying about Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers mid-season, you know, everybody's like, you know, Brady's washed up. The Bucs are there. They're not going to do this, do that. Then they kept going. They caught their win. They caught their steam. They got their groove. The defense started showing out. And man, they just went all the way through the playoffs and then dominated the Chiefs. It's that's what you need to do. You know, you need to get those reps in. You need to get those competitions in. That's what I'd like to see.
I think Hazmat might have a good opponent in Wonder Boy, Stephen Thompson. Even Liam Edwards, they may match up Liam Edwards and Thompson. The winner takes Hazmat. You never know. But I think I think that's an intriguing matchup because Wonder Boy is that bar of that division. Like, you have to be Wonder Boy. You know what I mean? Even if it's like this by the skin of your teeth. Nobody likes to fight Wonder Boy. We talked about that earlier as well.
It's a tough fight, man. That dude fights you from a block away. You know, he's standing sideways, throwing his feet at you every direction. That's a dynamic striker right there. Hamzat better just get a hold of him.
I mean, also Jeff Neal. We could see Jeff Neal wins Hazmat as well. You know, you said, you know, Vince throwing him right into the fire. You know, and Jeff Neal's tough too. So I think they have plenty of options for this new fighter, man. And I'm excited to see new stars. The UFC needs to get these guys big fights, but they, you know, obviously not rush it, you know. And I think they're doing the right thing. But I'm excited to see new stars, new names that, you know, people are like, who is this? You know, people are like, Sean, I need to know more about this guy, you know. And they don't even know his name. They just describe him. And that's Hazmat Chimaev. Like, I love it when fans come to me, you know, the casuals come to me and ask me about fights. Right. So we need more.
Yeah, he's one of those standout guys, man. He's one of those future stars. I believe that Hamzat Chimaev will be a UFC champion. I believe that.
Definitely. Well, I appreciate you, Mike. Make sure to check out your YouTube channel if you want to plug it, man. We appreciate you all the way out in the West Coast, sunny California, man.
Let's go. It's beautiful. You know, look how beautiful it is outside. Look at that. Look at that.
I don't want to see outside my window.
A lot of snow, huh?
Yes.
No snow out here, brother. No snow out here. Actually, on the mountaintops, if you look up, so Huntington Beach in the far distance, there's these tall mountains. There's Saddleback, but then there's even taller mountains. You can see the snow up there, but we don't go up there, bro. We're happy down here in the warm weather. Definitely. Yeah, I appreciate you letting me get the plug. So Mike Finch MMA on Instagram. If you guys want to check out my YouTube channel /Mike Finch, just type in Mike Finch MMA. You'll find me right away on YouTube. I'm gonna start getting more stuff out there. I got a hit and move recently, so there's a new punching bag, which it's the one with where the bar swings around. You could do the slips and weaves under it, and my friend Ozzy, he got one originally, not a hit and move, but he got one of the generic ones, and it wasn't durable. So he made his own. He got his own. You know, he went through a laborious process to make a really durable bag, and he made something brand new. And I think the MMA community is going to love it. So you guys are going to see me blasting it out there. Stay tuned, guys. Mike Finch MMA on Instagram. Keep up with my boy Sean too. Sean, good to see you, brother.
You too, man. Best of luck. And we also have to wish a shout out to Eddie Wineland. He's fighting upcoming fight January 20th. So
that's right, my boy Eddie Wineland, My co-commentator. Yeah, Godspeed to it, man. The odds are even for that fight. Go put your money on Eddie, man. Yeah. He's gonna be stepping up real soon here. Badass, man. I love seeing these guys compete, you know. And it's awesome to do commentary with him. I can't wait to get back to commentary, man.
We can't wait to have HFC.
Yeah, dude. It's starting to heat up here. So looking forward to it.
Anytime, brother. Take care. Peace. Best of luck.